Home, the gold.
He could be too far. No, he's kicking. Oh, what a catch!
Puts a spicy forehand out in front of Naomi Morcilla.
Wu for the win. Team Canada. Darren Wu!
Santos with the layout grab.
Oh, that fantastic grab. The claws of Chaffer.
Canada just became the world champions.
Canada and the rest of the world. You're listening to the Huckin podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Theo Wan, living in Kingston, Ontario.
And I'm Danie Proby from Vancouver, BC, and we are your coast-to-coast guide to all things Canadian Ultimate. Theo, how was your weekend?
It had some Ultimate in it. I played one day of this tournament called Nationals.
Like
those
not,
that don't know,
Nationals.
Not Nationals. So teams that don't make Nationals usually go. So I was playing with Phoenix from Ottawa for the one day, which was really fun. Thank you, Phoenix, for letting me play with you. And we got to play against Too Good, which is actually Hound, but they had to put in that they were too good. That's a shade at some team, put the math together, if you will. Roy was there as well. And then on the mixed side, pickup team won. But there were some club teams out there, Wine Club, Mixed Berry, Zen, couple of Toro teams that put in mixed teams. That's actually really cool. They get to play against adults. Leverage was there and Remix. So a bunch of different teams were out there playing in Barrie, Ontario. So that's what I was doing on the weekend, at least for one day, was playing Frisbee out here. So shout out to Ultimate Experience for putting that tournament on. Danie, you got a busy weekend coming up. That's actually what we're going to be talking about this weekend. But last weekend, I think you were on a boat of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was on the weekend.
It was. I had to look at my calendar to see what I was doing, but basically already starting this other business, which if you know what Soho House is, he's trying to start a Soho House in Vancouver for like-minded entrepreneurs, but basically he's running events right now. And I kind of helped him. I mean, I didn't help him. I kind of set it up or whatever, but he's running this event on a boat where he invited 50 entrepreneurs or entrepreneur-like people to come on board. And I got to greet them with a glass of champagne as they entered the boat. It's really fun to pretend like I'm somebody I'm not, get all dressed up and hide all my bruises and scratches from playing Frisbee and look like a fancy businesswoman for a bit. So yeah, it was a nice cruise. Met a lot of really cool people, including somebody who's on the next Survivor. So it hasn't aired yet, but he's can't really talk about it too much. So I have to ask really vague questions, but they have
Yes.
they've signed that contract that they can't talk about it. So that was fun. And then,
Wait, there's Canadians on Survivor?
Yeah.
No?
I guess so. Or maybe he's dual citizen. I'm not really sure, but my sister was up. So I spent a lot of time with her as well. And yeah, we just went on a brewery tour because I think two of our friends gave us the brewery tour as a wedding gift. And it was really fun. Met a bunch of other people and drank beer and pretty chill. Oh yeah, Ari and I got invited to this random club and I haven't been to a club in ages. And they had a table and it was the fanciest club in Vancouver. And so we go through this back entrance and up some stairs through security. They're just trying to make it seem like a thing. And I'm like a
speakeasy or something.
And you get up to this table and everyone's just standing over the dance floor, watching from these tables. And they do that bottle service. So the girls walk over with the bottle and it's on fire and they're dancing and they look like they hate their lives. And I'm like, this is not who I am as a person, but I will support this adventure. But man, it is a really different world than most Frisbee people live in. So it makes me feel really lucky to be around the people that I am who value the things that we do.
Okay.
That was my weekend.
Man, I didn't know this was going to be a live chat pod, but hey, we do appreciate it that people are thinking about stuff outside of Frisbee, but also enjoying the community we have in it. Yes. So, yeah, we got some news to talk about. Some coaches got announced, including potentially someone I'm speaking to right now.
What?
And then we'll talk about some tournaments that happened. And then in the main event, we're going to preview Pro Champs, which is the biggest tournament outside of the series. I know US Open's pretty big, but this is the best teams are there. It's going to be great. So we're going to talk about that all after the news, which we're going to right now.
We now have breaking news.
All right, welcome to the news section. So we did allude to this on the last episode that the WUC coaches were likely going to be announced by the time the last episode dropped, and it was true. We probably should have just talked about them on that episode, and it probably would have been fine. Honestly. But anyways, it was announced. The coaches were selected actually a long time ago, so it's been kind of like a long time. I think a lot of word has gotten out anyway, but I'd like to extend congratulations to Matthew Berzan as one of the assistant coaches for the Open team. So he's from Edmonton and discovered Ultimate in his gym class. He played UBC, played Furious during a lot of Furious's most successful years. And he was on Team Canada Open, and he was an alternate for World Games in 2013. So he's retired since from playing, but has been coaching Furious since 2018. And he also was coaching the World Games team in 2022. So very decorated coach. Very dedicated human being. We were actually in the same master's program at UBC for coaching. I think he finished it. I dropped out. So there you go. The other assistant coach.
The strong survive. Only the strong survive.
I mean, I was going through trauma, but whatever.
Fair.
So then we have Patrick Mooney, who's the other assistant coach for the Open team. So out of retirement, I think I heard Patrick Mooney's name a ton when I was first kind of getting into more competitive Ultimate as somebody who was coaching U24 teams, etc. And it's exciting to see his name back on this coaching roster. So he's been playing and coaching Ultimate for over 20 years from North Bay, and has been playing with GOAT and TFP. So he's won CUCs a few times. And he also competed and won WUC twice with Canada as a member of the mixed team in 2008 and 2012. So he was the head coach of the 2013 and 2015 U24 Open teams and the assistant coach of Team Canada U20 Open in 2010 and 2012. So there was a big chunk of time there where he was coaching a bunch of national teams. So he's back at better than ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he still has his hands and fingerprints on things, even behind the scenes out here. So, Mooney's a legend, and it's good to see him back. I expected to see Berzan's name when he wasn't named for the Open. I expected to see his name there just because of what he's done over with Furious and also coaching World Games. So now we're going mixed. We got to give some love to, what's his name? Danie Nakobe out here? Who is that? I'm just kidding. Am I going to read your whole bio here? I think people already know, but
just pick out the best parts.
Danie has played for UVic and currently plays for Traffic. She was, I won't read in that voice, Danie, for you, but Mixed Masters Team Canada in 2020. Team Canada Mixed Beach as well. Has her degree in phys ed. Woot, former teacher out here. She co-founded Elevate Ultimate, which you may have heard of on this podcast. Coached the U20 team to a bronze medal last year. Was the U24 mixed coach in the summer of 2023. So gets to work again with my now friend, Pete Galbraith. So that's pretty exciting.
He's my friend first.
I mean, that is true. And you were runner-up coach of the year for Ulti World. That's kind of cool. That's kind of hype.
Yeah.
No bias there. You didn't get to vote in on the awards, so you just earned it.
But I awkwardly got to see all the votes come in, so I know who voted for us and who didn't.
Yeah, because you're in the base camp, right? So you can just see.
I'm in that spreadsheet. I was like, come on, Keith. Show me some love.
Keith listens to this too. Come on, Keith.
No, he doesn't.
And Danie, you get to coach with Caitlin Lovat, otherwise known as Hoodie for those in the Frisbee scene. And so been playing since 2000, a long time, and representing Canada a few times, 5 in total, winning gold and 2 bronze medals. And also kind of like Mooney, for a chunk of time had been coaching for a while. So from 2013 to 2018, coaching U24 and U20. And then I was also coaching McGill at a point as well. So we talked about a North Bay team coming to a tournament. I think it was No Borders before, and Hoodie was a big part of bringing that and making that happen. So not just growing the game at an elite level, but also growing the game kind of grassroots in smaller communities that don't really have Ultimate. So that's a good mix out here for that mixed team.
Yeah, I am personally very excited to work with Hoodie because, again, it's the same thing as Mooney. I've heard about both of them, and they're both kind of legends in coaching and as players. And so it's kind of, it's just a cool opportunity for me to be able to work with somebody who I know and love in Pete, and somebody who I'm excited to learn from and work with in Caitlin. So it's going to be a dope cycle. On the women's side, we have the first assistant coach being Allison Fisher. So you know thy name, just coming off of the U24 head coaching for the women's team, has been coaching Iris for a long time, has played in 3 World Club Championships, has played on the mixed national team, masters teams, just like lots of playing and coaching experience. Coached the U24 team in 2019, 2022, and 2021. So 2023 and 2020 and 2019 and 2021. She was also coaching. It was a version of a WUC team, I believe, or there was some sort of regular national team that got canceled because of COVID. So tons of coaching experience. She was inducted into the Ultimate Canada's Hall of Fame in 2021. Now, the second assistant for this team, these two becoming kind of a dynamic duo, and they already were a dynamic, like Fish and Carla DeFilippo were already a kind of dynamic duo. So adding Alex Davis to this roster makes a lot of sense. So Alex Davis is a coach and former player of Vancouver Furious George, played competitively for over 20 years, has coached, captained, competed for Canada with 9 national teams, and he brings a wealth of analytical experience and strategic knowledge to Canada's national team program. And I've never seen such a concise bio for such a illustrious and robust career.
Knowing what I don't know Davis that well. I mean, you probably know him a bit more, but knowing what I heard in that one, it was that Furious documentary that Sky Magazine put out a long time ago. They're talking about how Davis is kind of like a robot, and then, just seeing some of the videos, like that one defense video, I could just see that the concise bio makes sense. It tracks with what I know. So, congrats to all the coaches. We're excited to see how Canada does at WUC. I like that they changed the name because World Ultimate Guts was always weird to me.
But at least we got to call it Guts, and so people knew what worlds we were talking about. Now there's 2 like WUCs.
True. Good point. Because now it's like, are you talking about the World Ultimate Championship or are you talking about the World Ultimate Club Championship?
They should just call it clubs and like worlds or
Club
something.
Worlds or something.
Clubs.
Yeah.
Like you need like a shorthand name for it. So clubs and then WUC or something. I don't know. WUC or WUC cook.
Yeah. Anywho, we're going to turn our attention to another cool achievement, which is the USA Ultimate Hall of Fame. There are Canadians in there. And another one got added. That's Allison Walker, who played for the legendary team Capitals. They won the USAU finals in 2010 and then tied for 3rd in 2009 and 2011. It's also representing Canada multiple times. I see World Games on this list as well. So just a legendary player that unfortunately I didn't get to really see much because, when we talk about these legends, often there's just no game film out here. So you don't actually know how good they were back then because you just hear the lore of said players, but you don't actually get to see it. So you can read her whole bio. A big thing that was discussed with her is her leadership, not just her playing. So please go check that out. The USA Ultimate website, Hall of Fame. You can read up on her whole bio so you can learn more about this legend.
All right. Moving on to some little baby recaps of some events that were happening. We have Spawnfest happening. So this was in Bellingham, I believe. I think it was conjoined with a youth tournament as well. So anyways.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
there are a couple Canadian teams that are representing. Just going to close my Slack here. You can know
who's bombing you messages right now. Tell
I
me
have
you're recording.
like 10 Slacks, so who knows?
That's like me with that's like me with Instagram.
If you are a working human being, use Slack. That noise either makes your skin crawl or makes you happy, depending on what your Slack's used for. So, Soft Serve was one of the teams from Seattle. Squid Inc. from Bellingham. And then we have Bop from Seattle. And with Mola Mola all in one pool. So Mola Mola ends up finishing 1 and 2 in pool play. So I know I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but like it's really cool for Mola Mola and for Fable to be able to have another event, because I know we talked about this earlier on other podcasts where because Nationals was held in BC, a bunch of new mixed teams kind of came out. Whereas normally maybe Mola Mola and Fable would get to go to Nationals. This year they didn't. So I think it's really awesome that they had another opportunity to compete as a team to elongate their season. Otherwise, it just feels really short. So in the other pool, we have Hive from Portland, Garage Sale from Eugene. I love that name. And then VU from San Fran and Fable. Fable ends up going also 1 and 2 in pool play. So we head over to the bracket. And then we have Mola Mola and Hive facing off in quarterfinals. And Mola Mola ends up losing that one 7-15. And we have Fable versus Squid Inc. in the other quarterfinal. And Fable ends up losing 11-14. So we see Mola Mola playing against VU. And then Fable playing against Bop. So Fable wins their game and moves on to finals and ends up losing the finals. So finished 6 respectively. And Mola Mola would have finished 7-8.
Yeah, they unfortunately come 8th, but they come 8th with 2 1-point losses.
That's true, and like didn't have like the nationals experience and everything, and probably had a lull in their season. So good work, both of those teams.
Now, Northwest Fruit Bowl, sick name. Footage is available on Ultiworld if you want to watch. I edited the Red Flag game, so you can check it out. But Red Flag was the number 1 seed overall in this tournament and in the pool, obviously, and they had Loco out of Westchester, Pennsylvania, BW Ultimate out of Sunnyvale, California, and there's one more team in there. That's Wild Card out of kind of the Boston area. So Red Flag does go 3-0 in pool play, so they kind of set themselves up pretty well. Just looking at the scores here, 13-6, 13-9, and 13-4. So, taking care of business. But then quarterfinals comes, and they lose to this Oregon Scorch team who does have a win over Mixtape on the season, folks. So this Oregon Scorch team might be for real. That's what they tell me. Red Flag was actually up at 1.84. They, for some reason, I guess the games were at 13. And so they took half at 7. And Red Flag breaks for half and then actually holds out of half. But then Scorch slowly chips away, taking advantage of some of these Red Flag turnovers. Red Flag actually has to hold to force Universe, but then Scorch gets a nice big huck for the win and dash the championship dreams of Red Flag for this tournament. But Red Flag does battle back and wins their next 2 games to finish 5th. So trying to save their ranking a little bit here. But yeah.
I mean, they're still ranked 7th in Frisbee rankings. And
I think the 5th place games helped, right? I think by winning those. I don't know.
Yeah, every game counts. Oregon Scorch only moved up 4 spots to be 23rd overall. So on paper, Flag should have won this game. And you did say that they were up.
They were up by 4, so in the second half. So I mean, that's tough.
That is a really fast turnaround time to be playing CUCs and then head down to a tournament. I know quite a few people on their roster were definitely at less than 100%. So to be able to get those games in prior to playoffs was probably the goal, and they got the games in, and their rankings are holding tight. So I think successful weekend, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, right now there are 3 bids in the Northwest. So BFG, Red Flag, and Mixtape have earned it. But then some of the teams on the outside looking in, Moondog, who's looking for some revenge from last year, and then Oregon Scorch as well. And then throw in this new Seattle Soft Serve team out here. But yeah, there's some teams hunting for those bids. So wishing, of course, the best of luck to all the Canadian teams because we want to see more of them in the fall series out here.
Yeah, because this Moondog team did beat Mixtape earlier in the season. Then they lost to Scorch,
Yes.
Mile High Trash, Polar Bears. They lost to BFG, but gained points because of it.
They also lost to Mixtape as well, I guess, in another.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess our Fruitbowl, yeah.
Their scores are kind of all over the place. But last time they played Red Flag, they lost 9-14. So, wow, they played a lot of games.
Is that normal? 18 games? They played 3 tournaments, Moondog. Dang.
I guess that's normal. Like it's hard because like we play usually 2 US tournaments, but we do have Canadian tournaments too. So I'm sure it's not abnormal.
Okay, so that is our baby recaps. We're gonna do not a mega preview; it's gonna be a regular preview of Pro Champs right after the break.
This is Safina Shajani and Jessica Gao from the McMaster Women's Ultimate Team, your 2022 CUUC Division 1 Women's Champions.
And you're listening to the Huckin podcast, your coast-to-coast guide for all things Canadian Ultimate.
All right, the main event, we're talking about Pro Champs. This is a 10-team tournament for each division, much stronger than last year. So a lot of the top teams are out here playing. So it's going to be really competitive, and it's going to be live streamed as well. So there's like a kind of showcase game, and then there's also Field Pass with 4 other games. So 5 games per time slot. Get that all access subscription. Cody Hubbard, you won it, so you'll probably be watching, but other people get in on that as well. 3-day tournament? That's wild. That's great, honestly, for all the teams involved. So We're going to start with Traffic. They're the 5 seed overall in this tournament. And they're going to open up with a team that I think they're familiar with, a team from Pittsburgh. So they are the 3rd seed in their pool, Traffic is, and Parcha is the final seed in this pool. So Traffic currently ranks 6th in Frisbee rankings and 9th in the Ulti-World Power rankings. This is how kind of they start the tournaments, from what I've been told. 2 years in a row at national championships, they've played Parcha first, so they get to kind of play against them again. Oh, there was some spiciness. I remember this vividly because there were some tweets about it. Contentious game at WUC. I'm going to leave it there. You can dig and resurface those tweets.
This game is going to be on Field Pass.
Yeah, there you go.
Go for it.
You want to watch it. Parcha's ranked 14th in both Frisbee rankings and Ulti-World Power rankings. So nationals level teams out here, right? And then, come on, this is a big game. Against the number 1 seed overall, Scandal. From my account, they have not dropped a game this season. They won US Open, and they're a good team out here. Traffic lost to them 8-15, which is the same score as Pro Champs last year, the exact same score. So pretty wild. Phoenix, they kind of been quiet. Like, this Phoenix team was good. Sue is back out here, our producer. So don't sleep on Raleigh Phoenix out here, folks. That's all I'm going to say. 8th in Frisbee rankings, 6th in the Ulti-World Power rankings. They have not played against each other since Nationals of 2021. I think I remember watching that game because that was streamed. And then Traffic lost on Universe, and then they had to play Brute Squad in quarters. So tough out there for them at that time. Phoenix came 2nd at Pro League Challenge East, losing only to Scandal. So, hey, they get a rematch in this pool as well. And then, oh man, all these teams are, dang, this is going to be so fun. But like, these teams are good.
Yeah.
Because now you got Brood Squad out here, the number 3 team in the Frisbee rankings and Ulti-World Power rankings. You did lose to them in pre-quarters. Traffic fans put the earphones on because you were up a few breaks early, but weren't able to get the dub. You did beat them for the first time last year at Pro Champs. So, hey, could happen again. And Brood Squad, despite losing their first two pool play games, came 4th at US Open. So, yeah.
Yeah, Traffic finished 5th overall last year as well. Like, I think that they're, as you said, it's a stronger tournament. I think that there were all the top teams there last year, but the floor is higher. So there's not any like throwaway gimme games to kind of pad your confidence in pool play. Every game's going to be a grind. So for Sixers, there's also going to be a streamed game for them. So their pool play game versus Riot will be on Field Pass as well. In their pool, they have Grit, number 15 in the Frisbee rankings, and 15 also with Ulti-World Power rankings. Sixers beat them 14-9 last year, so that in theory should be their easiest. Maybe Riot too, kind of between the two of them, depending upon which version of these teams show up. I think Riot's shown us that they can play at a really high level, and other times they play a little bit more to the standard we've had over the last 2 years. Fury's also in their pool, number 2 in Frisbee rankings and 2 on Ulti-World. They lost 12-13 against them at US Open in quarters. And so, and I think that they're going to be obviously strong. They ended up dropping the finals to Scandal 12-15. So Fury's a good team. That's a tough team to draw in your pool. Riot, number 11 in Frisbee rankings and 10 for Ulti-World. They haven't played Riot in recent history, like since 2019 was the last we could see. In theory, they should handle them with relative ease, but they did lose in finals at ESC to Schwa. And Schwa's another one of those teams that's kind of like a little bit up and down all over the place. Like, they can like show up and ball out, and then other times you're like, what's happening? So they also have Molly Brown, number 4 in Frisbee rankings, 4 in Ulti-World. They lost them twice last year and 12-15 this year at US Open in the 5th place semis. So I think that, do you have a theory about which pool you think is harder? While you say that, I think Sixers ended up finishing 4th last year in the same tournament. So,
okay, I'll look at both. Because I got to look at that. That's a good question, actually. Because I think the top 4 seeds, so the top 2 seeds in each pool, because both Traffic and Sixers are in the 3rd seed of that pool. Like, all those games are tough. Fury, Molly Brown in one pool, Scandal, Brute Squad in the other. I think it comes down to like the lower teams below. So I think I'm going to say Pool A is harder because I think Phoenix is stronger than Riot. And I think Parcha and Grit kind of cancel each other out. So I hate to say it for you traffic fans out here, but I think Pool A, you got the harder pool.
No, we're excited for the good games. I think we got to be battle tested going into nationals. So I'm very, very excited. I haven't played any of these American teams yet with traffic, so I'm excited personally. But the reps are always good. So in terms of the playoffs, the number 1 seeds all get a bye to semis. The number 2s and 3s battle it out to play against them in semis. Number 4s and 5s battle it out in finals with teams from the top dropping down. So it's with only 10 teams in the tournament, it's kind of a condensed kind of pathway, but you get a lot of high quality games and probably some repeat games as well.
Yeah, it looks like you each have 1 game on Monday. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's kind of how it worked last year. Is we finished up with 1 game against Schwa last year for traffic, and then we were able to watch, I think, the Open final.
Yeah, and if you go to Ultiworld's Instagram, you can see all the different stream games. There's also going to be some games on ESPN as well. So I'm hoping that USA Ultimate has done the thing, which I'm assuming they're going to do the thing which they've done before, which is like offer international pack or whatever for people who aren't in the United States who can watch ESPN. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, lots of games coming at you, Field Pass as well. And so get stoked. Pro Champs, then it's the series, sectionals, regionals, then nationals. So I am sad that I will not be at Pro Champs. I wish I was there. But, work is work. So cannot make it to sunny Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
Windy.
It's very,
rainy.
very hot.
Hey, guess where you're going, Danie? Midwest America.
Theo's favorite, maybe my least favorite.
Go to Culver's. Get the cheese curds out here.
I need ocean and mountains. I have been spoiled my whole life. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend. Make sure to follow along with Traffic and Sixers and cheer them on as they battle it out against America's best out here.
Yeah, I mean, the other divisions too, there's no other teams from Canada going, but keep an eye out for those divisions as well, because there's just a lot of good teams. If you just like Frisbee, you should just be watching the whole tournament, because like on the men's side, Pony, Truck Stop, Revolver, Machine are all going to be there, and Ring of Fire. And then on the mix side, I'm just looking now, like Amp's going. They're going to be like Metal Contenders, BFG as well. Exist out here. Get the subscriptions. Come on.
Yeah, in terms of subscriptions, if you subscribe, you can head over to the sub-only section where I'm actually going to be talking a little bit about how I do season planning. I've probably talked about this before, but it's just coming up with the UBC season starting up again. We're going to be having a meeting later today, and so it's on my mind. I'm already starting to draft out my thoughts, things I learned from last year, and kind of like any adaptations I'm going to be making for this next upcoming season. But yeah, it's a short and sweet episode. It's kind of refreshing. The episodes during CUCs and leading up to CUCs become quite robust, and we're about to head into CUUCs where they're going to get big again. Do you like how I'm using synonyms for the word that I normally use, and I'm avoiding using the word that I normally use?
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't have to say it because I definitely noticed it. So thank you for doing that. But hey, this is a memo for the college, a reminder for the college players and coaches. We're going to do the awards again, but we need your help. So if you make D1, you need to send those votes in fast. That's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
Send the votes in fast so we can get that out faster than last year.
We do not get paid to do that stuff. So don't make us chase you down relentlessly. Do us a favor so we can do you a favor.
Is UBC coming? Hey, is UBC men's coming?
No, I don't think so.
No, you don't know if they're coming, or no?
I think if it were held in like Montreal, they would have considered it, but because it's Brampton and they know like the weather, not because of Brampton. So, but like,
but they had bad experiences. They did not do well. Let's just say
they're also excited maybe to go to Montreal specifically. So I think that there should not be any BC teams there this year. Maybe UVic. I don't really know.
UVic. Does UBC and UVic have a bunch of 18-year-olds? Maybe that's why they want to go to Montreal, where the drinking age is a little lower.
No comment. I mean, I went to Montreal.
We don't condone that on the podcast. So
yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode. We will see you next week with our Pro Champs recap, and I'm sure a bunch of other stuff. And maybe like a spicy little interview is going to sneak in here.
Oh yeah, we didn't address that. That didn't happen this week, but scheduling.
Yeah, scheduling. Spicy interview. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye.